Welcome to 5 Phases Health. Your hosts are Peyton Young and Christina Barea. Over the next hour, you'll hear from experts in the field on how you can achieve sustainable good health.
Welcome to 5 Phases Health Radio, your guided journey towards personal transformation and sustainable good health. We simplify health, wellness, and nutritional information, eliminating the guesswork, helping you to achieve radiant health. I'm your co-host, Peyton.
And I'm Christina.
And we are glad you're with us today. And we welcome back previous listeners, and we welcome any new listeners. It's awesome.
I'm going to jump right into it. Got lots to talk about today.
Do we? Do we have tons?
We have a lot to talk about.
Okay, so I think today's topic is going to be, first segment is... We're
continuing our journey, right? So we're building a flow in the topics of conversation, and we are at the beginning of our journey in exercise, and we're trying to either rehabilitate from something, or we're just kind of getting our physical condition back up to par, and we've got everything ready to go. What are we going to do to stay motivated? How are we going to stay focused and understanding where we are in our progression and in our journey of conditioning?
Well, I know that we talked about in the last episode of Let's Get Started, talking about documentation at the very end, or logging, auditing, that kind of thing. So today's show is going to be about equipment and technology, from the most basic to maybe get into more high tech, I guess you might say, for lack of a better word, equipment or devices or exercise things that...
So back when I was a kid, there was a cartoon, his name, and it was called Sport Billy. I don't know. Do you remember Sport Billy?
I do not remember Sport Billy.
I grew up elsewhere in the world, so not everything.
Sounds cool, though.
Yeah, it was Sport Billy. It may have had a different name in mainland United States, but Sport Billy was this kid, and he carried like a bowling bag. It's that rounded shape of a bowling bag. It's got the two handles, big zipper, goes side to side.
Yeah, it kind of sounds like a bowling bag.
Or maybe it was a duffel bag. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe if our listeners know which kind of bag Sport Billy carried, you can ping us and let us know. Anyway, the point is that Sport Billy, whatever he needed, he would reach into his bag and he would pull it out. If it was a hammer, a screwdriver, if it was an apple, a bottle of water, if it was
in his bag,
a skateboard, a bicycle, a jet airplane. It was all inside of Sport Billy's bag.
Okay.
And so what the relationship for this is, of course, what's in your bag? I love to say, what are the tools that are in your bag? And I can't help but think of Sport Billy every time I think of this. What tools are in your Sport Billy bag that you can count on to help get you through the daily challenges that you have, and or help you achieve the goals that you've set in front of you? So we're going to talk about some of the things that you can put in your Sport Billy bag.
Sounds great. Sport Billy bag. Awesome. The very basic thing would be, what are you going to do? Which hopefully you would already kind of know. The goals, and then if this is a single exercise session, then you know what that exercise session kind of looks like. Hopefully that's written down.
Are you saying that we've mapped out a plan?
There could be a plan, and if there is, then it's in something. And it could be...
We've documented or recorded the plan somewhere.
Yep. Or we're using one that was given to us by someone. It's very, very possible. So at the most minimum, this is probably on a 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper, or in a small... Old school here. Yeah, exactly. With a notebook and something.
Starting old school.
Might even have a pen just clipped on the side, ready to go. Yeah.
Like a clipboard.
Not a clipboard, just, it could be a notebook, but a clipboard too.
Yeah, okay.
That's going real old school here. Yeah, that's right. Got to have a hard surface to write on, right? Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Did I mention that my coaches all carried clipboards with pens?
Exactly, yeah. Now, the interesting thing is probably that paper that was on the clipboard that they wrote with their pen probably had a nice little outline or layout of some kind.
Check boxes.
Probably check boxes with the, did you swim the 200 meter or whatever happened about? Actually, swimming 200 meters is pretty good ways.
Today's training protocol is going to be, focusing on butterfly. Therefore, you will be doing 20 laps as warm up, and then 50 laps on a half Olympic pool of butterfly, weighted and not weighted, with feet, no feet, and things like that. So, okay, but this is not swimming.
Sure.
Okay, so let's focus.
So anyway, it's some form of equipment that you use for your logging or whatever that happens to be. Or it could be a really fancy notebook, which is what I was referring to with the pen clipped on the spiral side of this notebook, if it's got one, hopefully, to record all of your information in. So at minimum, we got this part there. However, in today's modern age, there are many ways to keep track and to log, record, even pull in exercise routines, workouts, and things like that for whatever it is that you happen to do. So that leads us to our more modern equipment would be apps that would go on your phone or tablet or something like that, maybe linked to your watch and stuff. Mm-hmm. So I know that you like Fitbit.
Yeah, I mean, I think one of my employers way in the past gave me a free Fitbit, one of those things that if you're corporate...
Health insurance type of thing.
Yeah, so there's like a program that your
health and wellness program.
Yes, sponsored by your company, and if you do the wearable and it tracks to the app, then you can either accumulate points or
get a deduction
or time off, or there's some or your health insurance cost gets reduced, and so it's all focused on prevention, right? It's trying to make sure don't get to a problem. So yeah, I started with Fitbit eons ago, and just have kind of got used to it and stuck with it, and every once in a while, I feel like maybe I'll try something new, but yeah, I'm cozy right now with a Fitbit. I have an Inspire 2. I should probably upgrade and get the Inspire 3. Just haven't done it yet because my personal philosophy is it has to last at least 5 years. If it doesn't reach the 5-year mark, then it's not a good investment of my money. So I'm not quite at the 5-year mark on my Inspire 2. So once I get there, maybe I'll try something new.
There you go. Well, I'm old school. And so when I began my journey in health and wellness right out of college, and I worked at a fitness facility in a hospital, that kind of thing, I started to do 5Ks, 10Ks, half marathons, triathlons and stuff. And so that back in those days, we did have computers back in those days. So that was cool.
The ones that took up a whole room?
Yeah, well, almost that kind of thing. Yeah. They were Windows based, that kind of deal, Macintoshes and stuff like that, Apple. However, one of the pioneers of software with a wearable device was Polar. And so my first experience with those kind of tracking systems was a Polar chest strap for heart rate monitoring. And then basically you had an app that loaded onto a computer. It wasn't on the phones. Phones weren't able to do that at that point in time. But you could bring in and then if you had a couple of other sensors, you could get some elevation changes. And if you were hooked to a bicycle, you could get bicycle revolution, so miles per hour and stuff like that, which was really cool. And it would bring it into a tracking software at the time. It was
Gen 1 of wearables and health tech.
As a side note, that was probably 30 years ago.
Nah.
26 years ago.
Yeah,
say 25, 26 years or so. I still have that strap. And I use the case that everything came in. I think I still have the sensors and stuff for my
so it reached
road
that
bike
5-year minimum for.
Oh, it still works. You just replace the battery in it. Yeah, it still works. That's right. Yep.
Awesome. So these days we have some other options, right? There's all sorts of apps out there that track all sorts of things, and we have a variety, and the list keeps getting bigger and bigger, right? So there's something for everybody when it comes to tracking devices, apps that don't require any type of a wearable device, but now there's a myriad of health tech and wearable devices that are out there that can be used.
Yeah, some of the big ones are definitely going to be Apple and Samsung Fit, those that integrate directly into their wearables.
The smartwatches?
The smartwatches and the apps on the phones to connect them together for being able to track things. Fitbit and Polar, both still huge. They're used everywhere. And then you also have things like Garmin, which when when I've been looking at if I were to do some very intense type training, endurance type stuff, Garmin for me would be the way to go because it's heart rate, cadence, it GPS features can map you, and so you can get your distance, run times, and things like that. Very integrated. Plus, I usually am really bad about getting lost. So having something that actually had a map on it to tell me how to actually get back to the starting point, either home or car, is very good for me.
Yep. I think you bring up a good point here, which is, how do you choose? How do you choose? Before we get into digging into the health tech wearables, we'll go through all of those. But how do you choose? Get started with an app.
So, well, let me mention one more app that I have used and still do use. The paid version is really great. The premium version, that's Strava. It links in with your phone. It'll link with almost any wearable for heart rate and monitoring and things like that. It links with your watch, and it allows you to actually connect with other people to compare different what you're doing. Links you to other people in the area, which is kind of cool. So you can form groups. Pulls and maps and shows. Garmin and some of the other ones do the same thing, but I love the interface. My favorite color is orange, so their interface is white and orange. So I really enjoy it. It's a pretty full featured, and it'll integrate and pull in information from Fitbit, your Apple, Samsung applications as well. But then it also has third-party apps that will pull in your nutrition. So you can get a full picture in Strava of everything that you're doing. So sleep, your exercise routines, your nutritional information, which I think we use one called Lose It is the app that we use for that one, which is pretty awesome.
So you're saying that there is a difference, and I'm hearing that maybe we should just quickly talk about, which is the difference between an app that tracks something independent of a wearable.
Yes.
Which sounds like, I don't know Strava, but is that what you're saying? It's an app that integrates into a variety of other wearables or things that you want to use. And it consolidates that information for you. Yeah.
And what's really neat about that is that I had not the original Polar strap from 26 years ago, but I have a newer version.
Had a newer one?
Yeah, that actually linked to a Peloton and some other things. But Strava allows that heart rate monitor sensor to be pulled into it. So you don't necessarily have to use the Polar's application, which I didn't really enjoy. I didn't like its functionality. So you have these built-ins that go with the wearables that you can use. But then there's probably some other ones. I just like Strava the best, recommended by a lot of athletes and things. So I used it, and so it'll pull in all the other wearables and pull into the system, which is pretty cool. So no matter if you've got an Apple Watch or a Samsung Watch or Garmin Watch or Polar Watch, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I think that's a good segue into the next section, which is talking about specific devices or health tech and wearables and non-wearables that one might use to connect into the apps that you just mentioned. And I think each individual, right? So we're trying to put ourselves in the role of the individual, the mind of the individual. What's important to me? And that's exactly the first question that we should ask ourselves. What component of my health and wellness, fitness, routine, every day is something that I need to be paying attention to, right? Mm-hmm. So let's start with the easiest. If I have a health condition, such as, let's just say diabetes, then obviously something that tracks my blood sugar is going to be
and weight
top of mind.
Yeah.
And now we have these blood glucose monitors that you can connect, and they stay on the body, and they are connected to an app. And so you just open up the app and you can see it. You might have seen people walking around. They've got like a little box stuck to the back of their arm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So and there are now a couple of other innovations in that area that connect into an app so that you don't have to constantly be piercing the skin to get a blood sample, but rather it's already there connected, and it will give you information.
Well, that's really nice, because being able taking the time to actually take your blood glucose level is very time consuming and can be a bit uncomfortable if you're in a public situation too. And if you don't like needles.
Yeah, 100%.
Exactly.
Right. So that's one. And then, of course, another one might be your heart rate. So if you have you kind of have some heart conditions going on, or think you might be leading into an area where heart conditions could be a concern, then you might want to look at your heart rate. I don't think we talked about this yesterday or at some point. Blood pressure monitors that stay is not really a thing just yet, because it works on a different type of measuring mechanic.
Yeah, exactly. However, there are your blood pressure devices and cuffs and things like that. They do have them that connect into apps. So I have like an Omron is the one that I use to take my blood pressure, and it has an app that will, every time you take your blood pressure, it remembers it, and then in the device, and then the device connects to a phone, to the app through Bluetooth, and then it'll pull those down. It'll keep a record going. And so a lot of doctors love this, because if you come in and you have a situation where your blood pressure is high, or what they'll say is if it's just a little bit high, if you have one of these, then you can
show them a history.
Because when you go in to have your blood pressure taken inside of the doctor, it's a white coat syndrome, which means it might go up a little bit because it's a stressful situation.
100%. Plus, it's only a point in time, and it's not a good. You need the trend measurement in order to get an
accurate idea of what's causing it, or is it job related or situationally related. But normally my blood pressure is low, or I'm totally good. I'm not red faced. I feel good, not short of breath, and it just runs a little high, which it does in my family. So, which is very interesting.
Yep. Yeah, and blood pressure is a big concern. So we're talking about heart rate. The point was, what's important for the individual? So is it what component of their health and their fitness journey is what they really want to be focusing on? That will help to identify which might be the right tool in the sport billy bag to reach in and pull out, right? Which is the right device for me to be using.
Yeah. Do I need the $1,000 device like the Garmin watch? That's really awesome. When all I really want to do is just
make sure I reach 3 miles a day.
Exactly.
No, you don't.
You probably
Fitbit
don't need that one. Fitbit will work, or the standard Polar piece, or your phone, whether it's Apple or Samsung.
Right. So you don't even need a device. Some of them you can just get an approximation. And then we're not even going to get into the calibration and the accuracy of those devices, right? It's just, again, it's a trend, and you just want to have a marker. You want to have an idea. We're not trying to be absolutely precise on these. Smart scales, if you're monitoring your weight, which is just purely weight, a smart scale will also do a resonance reading, which will give a little bit of bone mass, water content, a resistance. It's a bioresonance resistance reading that gives an approximation. Again, these scales are also not accurate. They are approximate. Yeah. And it's, again, built on a trend. So you're trying to see, am I trending in the right direction?
Exactly. And they're also built off of data sets of actually using
standardization.
Yeah, there's devices like I can't think of the name. It's a capsule that you can actually get in. It's filled with water. You get in it, you hold your breath, and it actually does full density measurements and things. But these are very expensive. So they pull those data sets in order to generate these, and they're usually, though, for just the average person. So if you are an athlete or something like that, then some of these won't apply, because you're very fit and muscular. Low percentage body fats on either men or women can skew some things as well. So anyway, but
yeah, absolutely, yeah. So the scale is probably not, and we've had this conversation over and over again, probably not the best one to just, like, if that's the only one.
Oh, yeah.
That's going to probably create a little more stress than it is going to create relief. Unless, of course, you're just looking at, I have to lose 150 pounds and you're trending in the right direction. Then, of course, then that works. Right? So exactly. Each person's individual, what they're looking at. But let's put us back into the conversation. We're looking at, so there's some cool things happening in women's health tech. That's an interesting area. So I can vouch for the fact that a lot of these devices were not designed by women for women. You can know that by the location where you wear it and the design of it. Most of them are black, bulky, and give the impression that I'm a mega athlete and, I'm out there crushing the miles, biking the miles, and lifting the weights.
3 or 4 times a day.
I am. Yeah, I'm pretty much an Olympic athlete, which I am not. So women's health tech has evolved, and it's offering, some devices that you can wear around your neck. So there's options that are more aesthetically attractive in the wearables department. Mm-hmm. But two things here. One is menstrual health, which is something that some women would like to track, and that's now an option in some devices that specifically offer that, as well as fertility monitoring. So, how your body changes throughout the cycles of the month in order for optimization of fertility. So that's an interesting innovation there as well. And then the last one that we have on our list is the rings, right? So most everything has been designed to be worn either as a strap around the torso, close to the heart, like the ones that you were talking about at the beginning. And everybody knows the ones that go on the wrist. Fill in the blanks. There's a variety of them.
They have them for the bicep area. You can strap. And then there's one that you've been trying out that can technically, it can go anywhere as long as it's on the skin.
Yeah, and that one's a deeper conversation, though. It does have a better design, so you can move it around. So you can put it like close to your thigh. You can put it on your chest inside of a bra. For the ladies who don't necessarily want to have devices on their wrist, it can go in a variety of places. But we were talking about the rings.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
talking about the rings.
I think the one that I've seen the most advertised is Oura or Oura.
Oura. Yeah. I think that's how you pronounce it. Not sure. But yeah, also, again, if you put on one of those rings, it's great, but you're advertising. Some people don't necessarily want to be advertising to the world or, have a big chunky ring on their finger, especially smaller frame people like me. Those things tend to be very big and bulky, uncomfortable, and honestly, they don't necessarily match my outfit for the day. So I'm not a big fan of I probably am not a likely consumer for a ring. I'm more of I don't want it to be visible. And the one that I'm trying out that you just mentioned is called Whoop. And Whoop has his idea, but also I'm just kind of getting to know it. I just on day 2 of using it. It doesn't track your steps, for example, because it doesn't believe that steps is a good measure of your physical activity for the day, because each person does steps differently, and your physical condition can either increase or decrease the amount of steps that you need to be fit or to get your health goals and so on.
Steps are good, though, for the one thing is to get people moving. So that's the most important thing.
That's what I said.
To just move.
That's what I said. If it depends on the person. If this person is just I need to just make sure that I get up and move enough times in the day because I'm not getting enough actual steps in the day, then a step counter is perfect. If that person has a base physical condition and they're getting your, whatever number of steps in a day, and you feel like you're not achieving your health goals, like you're not actually losing fat and you want to lose fat and you're not getting that, then you need to up your exertion. And so something that measures exertion a little bit better might be more appropriate, right? So now in Fitbit, it's an active minute, right? And it measures how much you're above certain heart rate percentages. And so something a little more complex will work in that regard.
The most important thing, I think, for choosing some of these things too is based on the fact if you're just beginning or you're just maintaining your health. So whatever, let's just say this is more along the lines of walking, running, or rucking, or biking, and those kind of things. Then you might just need your heart rate, and maybe you just want to track where you went to. So something like that. So it could be as simple as, in actuality, maybe you didn't want your heart rate. You just want to know that you went a mile. You walked a mile. You keep your phone with you with one of the apps open, and it tracks, and it gets your with GPS enabled, it'll do your speed, your walking speeds, and where you walked, and then you can share that with your friends. So it could be as something as using the things that you already have. If you wanted to add the heart rate to it, you could add the heart rate strap, or you could add a ring, or you could add a watch or a Fitbit that goes around the wrist, or just one of those other things that connects into that app. So it could be very, very minimal. However, though, if you're doing something and training things very specific, that very intense, you might need more device options and features. Mm-hmm. So then the price is going to go up.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So like going back to the Whoop for a second, I can see that it's really devised or designed for somebody who's training for something. It really is looking at, how much exertion are you doing in the day versus your goals, and then your recovery. Right now it doesn't have, and it goes through a processing cycle of some sort. So it's not immediate, right? So there's not like an immediate response. You can't just like look at it on your app and so on.
Right.
So in one regard, that's okay with me because I prefer not to have to carry a phone with me all the time. And I like to be able to put it down. But I think in essence, we're at the point where we say, it's individual. You have to figure out what's important to you and make your decision based on that. And there's a plethora of options out there. Just take some time, do your research, and you'll certainly find something that will help you achieve your health goals.
Cool. Okay, so this is the end of this segment. And
thanks for tuning in.
Thanks for tuning in. Stay with us for segment 2, which will finish up the hour. See you in a bit.
Now, back to the show with Peyton and Christina.
And welcome back to 5 Phases Health Radio.
Glad to be here.
Yep. And if you're a current listener, we do appreciate it. Appreciate you listening. Hope you got something out of the last segment. New listeners, glad you're here. The last segment, we talked basically about technology and what that looks like in order to track, log, audit your exercise endeavors in life. And so
now we're complementing with our favorite weight and load devices.
Yes. So we're going to review a little bit about, there's a bunch of different devices, different things that are out on the market so you can see that help with exercise. We're going to talk about some of those and then our favorites, I assume,
sure.
What we like to use. Mm-hmm. So let's, what's your favorite?
Well, I think that varies over the years, right? So I would say in my early years, I was very athletic and I did a lot of different kinds of weight training. I used equipment, machines. I'd go to the gym, use, I don't even remember the names of the machines, but all sorts of things, right, over the years.
Arm curl machine, probably
100%. A lot of leg presses I did because sure. I was in one of my iterations as an athlete, I was a runner. So I did a lot of leg presses and so on. And in my military school years, I did that as well, just physical conditioning. I kind of tapered away from that and did more aerobic type things for a while. And then I came back because I was losing that muscle mass and definition and go back to the weights, right? Because you're not going to get the beautiful shape of the muscle and that it's hard to burn off the fat if you're not exercising the muscle. Muscle is a great way to burn the fat. So that's why we go back to these load-bearing, weight-bearing exercises and tools to help us build that muscle mass and keep us healthy. Plus, that helps give a great signal to the bones to stay strong. But my favorites are consistently bicycle, right? So with a resistance, in this case, we use a Peloton here at home. That's pretty cool because I can actually calibrate the amount of resistance that I want to have on the bike for the amount of time that I'm going to be on it. So I use less resistance if I'm going to be on the bike for a longer period of time and I feel like I need to be more in the fat burning stage, and then a higher resistance for a shorter period of time if I feel like I need to bulk up for any reason, although I really don't need to bulk up for any reason whatsoever.
It's always good to push the heart a little bit.
But it's good to push.
So that you expand and have a greater VO2 max.
Exactly.
And heart rate gets trained to work under heavy load and then recover.
Yeah.
So that's always good.
Yep. And then over the years, through our Tai Chi and martial arts practices and so on, I've noticed that my arms were not as strong as they used to be, which had developed into a variety of shoulder, back, neck, upper body, aches, pains, squeaks, crunches, and so on, that I was like, what's going on here? And obviously, I was not lifting enough weight. I wasn't doing push-ups. I wasn't doing enough of lifting type exercises and so on. So now I do free weights.
Calisthenics, basically.
Yep. And now I do free weights. I don't do machines anymore. I feel like it's just not part of my regimen, just for my personal goals. But I love free weights. And I took a note from your book a little bit. And, I said, if I'm going outside, I'm going to spend 30, 45 minutes outside walking. It really what are my hands doing in this whole time? So now I carry a 5-pound weight in each hand when I go outside and walk. It's great because it doesn't at the beginning. So, you do a mile and you're like, I'm ready to put these down. But now I've been doing it so long that 5-pound weights in my hands, and I do all sorts of arm exercise. I do curls at the same time, alternating curls. I do tricep push extensions in the back and do that. And then I'll put them over my head, overhead tricep extension. I'll do a press, and then I'll do an uppercut to work the abs and things like that. I do a variety but it keeps me entertained, and the walking goes by that much faster. But as is expected with an exercise over time, that begins to not be enough, and you need to get a little bit more. So I have my heavier weights, which I don't carry with me when I'm walking, and I do more precision-focused exercises at home, standing still in one spot with those, go 10, 20 pounds, depending on what I'm doing.
So taking your current things that you do, basically what we're looking at is you're either using your body weight or you add an additional load of some kind. Yep. In this case, you use dumbbells and things so that you carry around either an extra 10 or 20 pounds, basically, of load that you then move around, which causes the body to have to adapt to the movements that you're doing as well.
Right. It's only because I'm stingy and I don't want to invest in a bunch of equipment to put it on my back to do wrecking or anything like that. That's what I do. Yeah. I'm very frugal. I'm like, I want to use the tools and resources I have at home versus going out and spending a bunch of money on stuff.
Very, very true. So let's look then is that basically your equipment then that you could use is either your body, and then you could use geometry and gravity using just your body to provide load or resistance at different across different joints, basically at different angles. So that's one thing that you could do, and it's very beneficial. So very first thing that most people think about is that's really what you're doing in yoga. So you're always planted in with either 2 feet or 2 feet 2 hands, or 2 hands 1 foot, or 2 foot 1 hand. So you could do the same type of things fully calisthenic by doing push-ups, and then you could elevate your feet upward for the push-up to then hit more of the upper chest and front of the shoulders. You could also do a decline push-up as an example. So now what we're doing is we are changing the geometrical shape of whatever that thing is that you're doing, whether it's a push, a pull, a press, a lift, a carry, or for legs, pushing against something, the ground or something across gravity, that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. So that's one way to look at it. You're literally a walking equipment just by yourself. If you know how to use it and use things around you that are built into the environment, basically. Agreed. A chair, a bench, a bar, things like that. Mm-hmm. So it becomes very beneficial.
That means that you can work out anywhere, anytime.
Exactly. Actually, you can. And you can also then change your speed and where you apply the resistance during those things. And we'll use the squat real quick as an example. If you concentrate on the squat by having a little bit of resistance, you control the descent portion of the squat down into either parallel, or, which I highly recommend, work on a full squat which means your rear goes down to your heels the best you can without tipping forward or coming off the heels. Really work on that, because that's full range of motion. And then the press upward in the other direction could either just be a nice press up, or it could be also a slow controlled press where you're allowing the weight of the body to really settle into the legs. And really the way you would do this is you would count time. Makes it really simple. So if you're squatting down, it might be count of 4, 1 1000, 2 1000, 3 1000, 4 1000 to get down to either parallel or full down to the ground squat, and then 1 2, 1 1000, 2 1000 to come back up. So now what we're doing is we're intentionally allowing resistance to be created by slowing the speed down on that descent. And you can then do reverse. You could do a slow up with then a faster coming down without just dropping down, as an example. So you don't really need any equipment unless what you're really going for requires more than that. But for most normal people, that's a very simple thing. You can do it with push-ups as well, pull-ups, abdominal work, sit-ups or crunches, curls, that kind of thing. So.
Yeah, absolutely. And the good thing about that is that depending on where we are in our day and a lot of people say, I don't have time to do exercise. I don't have time to work out. Well, I agree. We are all very busy and we have different things that demand our time. But what if you could weave into your day little things that you could do differently that accomplish a workout for you, right? Instead of making this one block of time where you go and do everything all at once.
Now, I'll preface this by saying it sounds like you're doing this little talking about this little acronym thing that's really cool that I don't know a ton about. But
are you talking about NEAT?
Yes, that was it. Yeah. So
yes. Forgot exactly what it was. Non-exercise activity.
And it's got a real fancy word at the very end.
Yeah, I don't remember, but it's NEAT. And what it means is you're let's just say it means you're doing exactly that. You're weaving an exercise to your day. You're getting up. You're finding reasons to be active. For example, when you get in the car and you drive to the grocery store, you're going to go do your errands. Instead of parking right in front of the store, park at the end of the parking lot where there's no cars, and then walk your way and that's a great way to get your steps in, right?
Exactly. Yeah, take the stairs instead of the elevator.
Exactly.
As an example.
And if you're only going to pick up a handful of things, maybe instead of using the push cart, carry the basket. That works the bicep workout. Yep. Right?
Exactly.
When you're going to...
And shoulders. It's a static posture too.
100%, right. Now, we're not asking anybody to strain and all of that, right? Carry 50 pounds on one hand. We're not asking that. It's just saying, if you're just going to pick up a couple things, instead of using the trolley, the cart, go ahead and pick it up and use the basket. Exactly. Or other things that you can do, for example, while you're waiting for your toast to toast, maybe get in 3 squats.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
1, 2, 3.
Or some push-ups.
Of the push-ups. If a full push-up is too much, do 45 degrees against the edge of the counter.
Yeah, that's it.
And
walk your feet back a little bit.
Walk
and then
your feet back. And just do...
Elbows close in.
Correct. Work on your form rather than the weight. Work on your form, getting it right.
Go slow for more resistance.
Exactly.
So NEAT stands for non-exercise activity thermogenesis.
Thermogenesis is the word I was looking for. Okay,
Great band back in the day. Love the drums.
Drummer always gets the most attention.
That's right.
Besides the singer, right? Yeah, I don't know. I mean, sometimes the guitarist is kind of up there too.
Well, every now and then, yeah.
So NEAT, right? Thermogenesis just means is you're burning calories, right? So you're trying to raise your body heat so you can burn those calories. So we're talking about ways that you can weave that exercise into your day. If you're at work and you're in front of your desk, some people are using those treadmills that go under a desk.
Under the desk.
You can stand up and then you can walk while you're... I think for me personally, if I'm doing that, I find that would be very distracting.
I don't think I could either.
I couldn't do it. But what
Unless
I
had
could
to power my machine by turning it, which they do have those as well.
But what I could do is actually have a 5-pound dumbbell next to me. And while I'm on my video call talking to somebody off camera, I might actually be doing curls.
Yeah.
or tricep extension or something like that.
So now we're getting into the small things like you use, so dumbbells or attached weights that can go at the extremities, so at your wrists or ankles, those kind of things. They're very low cost, and they are...
So wrist weights and ankle weights.
Wrist weights
they
and
strap
ankle
on
weights.
with like a Velcro or something like that.
Exactly. Which just adds some extremity resistance. So it's further from the lever. They're at the ends of the lever. So then it requires everything before that to actually have to be a bit more active and engaged to move around, that kind of thing. So now you're getting some exercise as well. And those could be put on, carry them with you, go to lunch and put them on and walk to lunch and then come back as a way to get them for exercise.
Did you know? Random side fact here. Did you know that gardening is an excellent way to get exercise in?
Very much so.
It requires all sorts of body motions, lifting, squatting, curls, pushing, pulling, breathing. Gets your heart rate up.
And you've got tools that you're using which go out beyond your normal lever. So they add resistance. So small spades, shovels, rakes, digging tools, that kind of thing. So
I think I read
and carrying
100%. I read a study. I think I read a statistic somewhere, random fact, that it was like an hour of active gardening can be like somewhere between 300, 400 calories.
Oh, wow.
Which is quite a workout, right? So if you're laying sod or, you're pulling weeds out there.
Sure.
It's a workout.
Digging a ditch.
And fun fact connected to gardening. Did you know that there's
I might know this one.
No, you don't know this one.
Okay, I don't know this one.
There's another study that says that getting your hands in the dirt actually improves your immune system.
Cool.
Actually putting your hands in dirt, working with planting, gardening, and so on, is actually a de-stressor. It brings your heart rate down. It brings your stress level down. It puts out the happy hormones. And it improves your immune system.
And focus, too, which is very interesting, being present.
And another fun fact about gardening.
Do I know this one?
You do know this one.
Okay.
Is that if you go outside...
Oh, you get the
vitamin D.
Vitamin D.
Natural vitamin D. Your happy hormones are going to be kicking in and all of that. And the stress hormones are going to be going down. So gardening is really a great, if you don't have a garden in your house or something, maybe a community garden. Okay, I'm done with the gardening fun facts.
Cool. No, I think it's great. So we're really talking about probably who we want to interact with are not necessarily athletes, but mostly people who just want good health. They want to live a long time.
Well, vitamin D is one of the most critical vitamins that we get. It is hard to produce.
Can't get it much in the same fashion as sunlight from any foods.
So
it's a different
our older aging
structure.
folks don't want to spend as much time outside because it's too hot, too cold, or something like that. Something in between, or I'm too tired, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Instead, find your favorite flower or your favorite produce, your favorite herb.
Okay. And plant that thing.
And put it. And did you know that, can you tell I like gardening? And did you know that you don't have to put it in the ground, that you can actually garden out of buckets?
Oh, that would be really cool. Yeah.
So if you don't have a garden-friendly house or place, just pots. Big
pots, big buckets, that kind of thing. Things you can move around very easily.
And that hits all the targets. You get your exercise, you get your hands in the dirt, and you're outdoors, so you're getting your vitamin D. Wow.
That's all in one. That's really awesome.
That's great.
Yeah. Okay, so let's from there
back to the subject.
we'll go back to the subject, but then let's add in some other really cool things. So I'll tag on to your walking with the dumbbells and stuff like that. So I use a weighted backpack. They call it rucking, that kind of thing, but it could also be a weight vest. So that's an accessory that you could use to add on, and you really don't need anything expensive. Most everybody has some kind of backpack laying around, so you could either put cans of soup in it, you could put fill up a milk jug with water, weigh it, and put it in the pack. The only thing that you'd want to do is you want to put something around it so it doesn't move around a lot while you're walking, because eventually you'll get to walking, your cadence will be such that the pack will move, whatever's in it will move back and forth and it'll be very uncomfortable. So that's one way to add load or resistance inside the exercise so that you can, without adding on too much hurting the body, having,
excessive load?
Yeah, like an excessive load. You've got just enough, but the idea is that you're burning more calories now because the body has to adapt to it, which is the key. So you can start out small and then over time add a little more weight to it.
I love the idea of rucking, as I've watched you do it, is because not only is it requiring you to stabilize the shoulder muscles and so on to support the weight, but your whole torso gets a workout. Your abs, the lats, the lower back, everything gets a great workout.
Well, the interesting thing is the core, and it's also not only will it tone the core, but it'll also require your posture, your alignment to come into correct form.
You straighten up naturally because you have to hold
because
the weight.
Exactly, and it's designed to lay across the shoulders in a very particular way. Some of the most healthy I've ever felt in my entire life was when I was doing a ton of backpacking and camping on the Appalachian Trail and then out west. It took a little bit to acclimate to it, but you're carrying around anywhere from a 20 to 40, 50 pound pack for multiple days, that kind of thing, walking on uneven terrain, usually, even though it's a trail. There's just something about being able to move that amount of weight that has not only lower body benefits, but it's total body benefit. You tend to stand up straighter when the pack is off, that kind of thing. So, and I do believe there's some studies that are being done now that's showing that carrying weight can be much more beneficial than if you were to, in some cases, run, as far as caloric expenditure, heart health, and increasing lung capacity.
And
so it's more efficient, and bone density as well. So bone density is huge there.
Yeah.
So you don't have to run and bang your knees and ankles and over and over and over again.
Sure. Yeah. So retaining muscle mass and retaining bone density as we age become two very, very important things to pay attention to. And carrying weight or lifting weights is a great way to address both of those concerns, however one wants to do it. Now, if you get the added benefit that you're enjoying it while you're doing it, right? Then all the way around, that's great, right?
Mental sunshine.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that explains a lot about why folks in their second half of life are out there finding gardening and outdoor events and things to do and participate in. When you're really young, you think about it as kind of like, oh, why do people do that? And then when you get there, you're like, oh, I totally understand why people do that.
Yeah, exactly. Especially if you have previous injuries and stuff like that, and you want to enjoy life. And being, doing those things can, especially like the gardening, when you're growing something, it's very beneficial, bringing life and nourishment to you, yourself, and loved ones and community. That kind of thing.
As our hormones change, absolutely. I just want to go back to the hormones real quick. As our hormones change as we go through life, and so it does affect the way that that is the contributor to why the muscle mass begins to change and the bone mass begins to change. Our hormones are changing. Everything is changing, right? Yay.
Yeah. Fun.
So
that's life.
Right. So what we have to do, and a couple times on our episodes, I haven't really dug into this, as I want to say, we should also know at what stage of life are we in? Where are we in our hormone progression of life to understand what is it that I need to adjust that makes sense, that's going to give me the most impact on the time that I invest into that particular activity or thing that I'm doing to support my health long term, right? Because if, let's just say, menopause is a big concern for women, right? Weight gain starts happening, different symptoms for different women, hot flashes, sweats, moodiness and things like that. Lots of things start happening. So a lot of ladies want to get that under control, either A, by taking a supplement, hormone replacement therapy, or another food dietary supplement to try to get it under control. But there is, again, going back to those studies, it's actually been shown that one of the biggest things, the most impactful things that ladies can do is lift weights. Mm-hmm. Because it will burn all the unhappy hormones that are running through. It will stimulate the HGH to keep those estrogen levels up, and it will increase the muscle mass, and it will increase bone or maintain bone density. You won't decline as quickly. Yep. And because of all of that, the weight gain tends to either get under control or actually be reversed. So I am delighted to say, in my meanderings through social media and all of the fitness folks out there, is to see a bunch of ladies who are mid-50s and older, mm-hmm. who have the best body and the best physical health they've ever had, because they realize what the right formula was mm-hmm. now that they're older versus when they were younger, mm-hmm. and know that their lifestyle, their eating habits, and their activity habits need to change in order to do that. So yeah, we're talking about, how do you choose which is the right exercise, weight bearing, and things like that. Well, first of all, you have to have fun, whatever you're doing. Make sure that you enjoy it too. Is it the right for your body? Are you putting effort into the right areas of your body based on what you want to accomplish? And just doing it for the right amount of time, which we only have a couple minutes left. So maybe we should talk about, shaking things up. When do we know when to shake things up?
I don't know. When do you know when to shake things up? When
you start to plateau and you feel like you're not gaining anything.
Exactly. So then
it's no longer doing anything for me.
Exactly. So then you got to change one of three things. It's the time, the resistance, or the load, effort that's being put in there, or going to an alternate mode of exercise equipment even. So we've mentioned a couple: purely body weight with geometry, using dumbbells, weighted vests, rucks, hand and ankle weights, which attach to the joints. But you can also use bands and ropes. There's some rope systems, TRX is out there. You can also just use a regular rope and attach it to a
stretchy
ring,
band.
Stretchy bands, resistance bands, that kind of thing. And you can use home equipment, which are internet connected, and you can have that community that's involved with that as well. So think Peloton and some of the other ones that have bikes and rowers and stuff.
Find the one you like the most.
Exactly. Well, this has been an information filled. I think we could probably talk about some other things, but that'll
stay tuned for the next one.
And we'll add it into another one. But we do appreciate you listening.
Thank you so much.
Yep. If you're new, thank you for showing up and checking us out. And if you have any questions or anything, either check us out on our Facebook page and leave a request there, and check out our webpage, 5phaseshealth.com.
Thank you so much. See you next time.
See you next time.
Thanks for tuning in to this week's episode of 5 Phases Health. We hope we've given you some tips to improve your health habits. Until we talk again, have a beautiful week.